So before this vector model of atom, the latest one was this Bohr-Sommerfeld theory of atom. So in Bohr-Sommerfeld theory, is same as the Bohr model, where the electrons are just revolving around the model of atom is just the electrons are revolving around the. But this Bohr-Sommerfeld theory couldn't explain this Zeeman effect. So this couldn't explain. Zeeman effect, that is the splitting of spectral line. Presence of magnetic field. Okay. So similarly, it couldn't explain this Stark effect. It is splitting of spectral line in electric field. Presence of electric. Then the intensity ratio of or variations hydrogen line. Also electron distribution in atom. So in Bohr-Sommerfeld theory, they were not able to explain the Zeeman effect, Stark effect, hydrogen lines, Balmer, Clas-Kenros lines, intensity of those lines, how they are coming. And then electron distribution in atom, how the electrons are distributed in atom. Those things were not explained in Bohr-Sommerfeld theory of atom. So then this vector model of atom came and explained somehow this Bohr theory, Zeeman effect, Stark effect, and hydrogen. Okay. So it was in 1925. Gutenberg and Goudsmit. Uhlen Gutenberg. Then Goudsmit. Godsmit. They proposed this vector model of atom. So in vector model of atom, we have electrons which are revolving around the nucleus. Along with that, electrons are spinning with respect to its own axis. Okay. That was the contribution from this vector model first. So they assumed that along with this orbital motion, there is intrinsic spin for these electrons. At that time, it was just proposal. Then afterwards, some people experimentally verified spin of electron. Eh? ഒന്നും കേക്കില്ലേ എന്തെങ്കിലും കഥ മൈക്കുണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു സൗണ്ട് കൂട്ടിയാ പോരെ സൗണ്ട് കൂട്ടിയാ പോരെ Okay, in 1925, Gutenberg and Goldsmith proposed this vector model of atom. So in their proposal, they assumed that along with the electron orbital motion, there is intrinsic spin motion of electrons, that electrons are revolving its own axis, rotating on its own axis. Okay, so first we can assume like electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Okay. Along with it, along with this motion, they are rotating on its own axis. This is called as spinning. Okay. So who then which people verified this spin of electrons to experiment? Hmm? Later, this spinning action of electrons were experimentally verified by some people, some scientists. Name of, huh? അറിയില്ല ഇലക്ട്രോൺ സ്പിൻ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിച്ച പിന്നെ എങ്ങനെ എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റ് ഓളി പ്രൊപ്പോസ് ചെയ്ത് അത് ഏ ആരാ പറയും എക്സ്പെരിമെന്റലി പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്താരാ ക്വാണ്ടം മെക്കാനിക്സിൽ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ ഫസ്റ്റ് Stenderlach experiment. Okay, then in this we take orbital angular momentum. Okay, so from this we are writing this second point. Okay, so the electrons are then having this orbital angular momentum as well as spin angular. So these electrons are having orbital angular momentum and spin angular. Then total angular momentum will be the sum of orbital angular momentum L and spin angular momentum. Yes. So these electrons are revolving around this nucleus within a specified orbital. So they will be having orbital angular momentum. Along with that, they are rotating on its own axis, spinning. So they have spin angular momentum. So total angular momentum will be the sum of both angular momentum, orbital angular momentum and spin angular. So it is not just sum. It is the vector sum of orbital and spin angular moment. So that is the proposal of uh, vector model of that. Then this orbital angular momentum L. So basically this is a semi-classical theory or semi-classical model because it uses the vector addition, which is a classical picture. We use in classical mechanics and classical dynamics. So that vectorization is a classical idea, but the magnitude of that vector will be taken from the quantum mechanics. So it is like of semi-classical theory, semi-classical model. Vector model is a semi-classical model. So we use vector addition. Along with that, we use കാണില്ലേ? So this is a semi-classical model. We use vector addition along with the magnitude of those vectors we take as from quantum mechanics. Okay. So this vector angular momentum, the orbital angular momentum vector, this will be equal to root of L into L plus 1 times cos. This is from quantum mechanics. Similarly, you can write S equal to root of S into S plus 1 times S plus. This I will rewrite as L star cos. I will write S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star, this is from quantum mechanics. So this will be equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal to root of this one. S star equal to root of L into L plus 1 times S star. So here L star equal L can vary from 0 to n minus 1, where n is the principal quantum number, L is a symmetric quantum number. This is principal quantum number n, and S can be plus or minus half, small s, and this is nothing but spin quantum number. So this small l, small s, all this will come from quantum mechanics. So then total angular momentum. So this is orbital angular momentum L. This is spin angular momentum. So total angular momentum J will be equal to L plus S. Basically, it depends on the S value, whether it becomes S plus or minus. So this is J equal to L plus S. And I can write this J as root of J into J plus 1 times H cross. Similarly, equal to this. And this will be equal to J star cross. And this J, small j, that can vary from L plus small L plus S, small L plus S to L. So that is the total angular momentum J. Now, if you consider this in vector model, suppose this is your L vector. There is one S vector. I will just okay. Change that color. This is your S vector. This is your L vector. Okay, so this is minus half, this downwards. We can represent, suppose that electron is revolving in clockwise direction. These electrons are revolving clockwise, then it is plus half. Okay, if it is revolving, rotating in the anti-clockwise direction, it is minus half. Similarly, we can represent it by this vector model. One is up, one is down. So up means plus half, down means minus half. Both represent is same. Up means it is rotating clockwise direction. Down means it is rotating in the anti. So now you have to take this vector S in order to do this vector addition. So I will take this vector, put it here on the head of the second vector. Tail of the first vector should be at the head of the second vector. Then you will get that resultant vector. So this one. Now this is your S. So this is nothing but your vector addition. This second vector or the first vector, first vector's tail should be at the head of the second vector, and you use that triangular law of vector addition. So that will give you J. So this is your total angular momentum. This is your orbital angular momentum. This is your spin angular momentum. Okay. Similarly, if this vector which is in the up direction, then the total will come as this is your L vector. This is your S vector. Now it is direction. So the resultant is so now this is your L, this is your S. Now spin is plus half. L remains same. Spin is plus half. So this will become your J. So here J will be equal to L minus half. Here J will be equal to L plus half. The spin is up here. Here spin is down. So this J is a total angular momentum by vector model of atom. So this is the vector model of atom. All these angular momenta are represented as vectors, and we get total angular momentum. And by using this vector method, we calculate that G-man effect and all those things. So there are basically two features. So features of vector model of atom. We already discussed. The first one is that spinning electron. And the second one is facial condensation. So spinning electrons, we already said electrons are revolving around this nucleus in particular orbit. Along with that, they are having intrinsic spinning action, or they are rotating on its own axis. So that will give you this spinning of electron that I'm not going to write here. You can write this as a sentence here. Along with orbital motion, electrons are spinning on its own axis. So that is the definition of that spinning electron. Then that magnitude will be given by S. That magnitude S will be given by S into S1. So here also that magnitude of these vectors, this L, for example, this vector magnitude, okay, this one. So that will be given by root of L into L plus 1 cross this magnitude. Okay, so that will be given by this one. Then if you want to calculate that mu s, so because of this spinning action, that electron, which is a charged particle, which is spinning. So when that is spinning, charged particles rotating, which will produce some magnetic moment. Okay, so if you are having some current loop, like this, with current I flowing through this loop, then the corresponding magnetic moment mu will be equal to I into A in the current loop. So if this is area is A, then this coil will act as magnet and it is carrying that current I. Then the magnetic moment associated with that loop, that coil, will be equal to mu equal to I into I times A. So same concept we have to take when the electrons are revolving on that orbital motion also. So that is associated with the orbital magnetic moment, mu L, because of orbital motion of electron. Similarly, since these electrons are revolving, rotating around on its own axis, there will also will be some tiny magnetic moment. It will be very small. So that magnetic moment, which we represent as mu s, because of spinning electron, and that will be given by E by m h cross. Sorry. So this I can write E by m times root of s into s plus 1 times h cross. So if you put s equal to half, if s equal to half, then your mu s will become E by m. In the last class, we wrote gs times E by 2m. So that gs value will be 2. 2 will get cancelled, and I'm not considering that minus here. Only consider that magnitude. So I can write E by m times this. Okay. So that will be E by m. If s is half, then this will come as half into half plus 1 is cross when the spin is up. Okay. So this will be E by m times root of 3 by 4 times h cross. And if you take this 4 outside, it is root 3 times h cross E by 2m. And this h cross E by 2m is called as Bohr magneton, UB. So this we discussed in last class. So this will become root 3. So if this is minus half, then this will result in half. So total will be 1 by 4. So this root 3 will not be if it is in downward direction. It is minus. Okay, so this will be the magnitude of that magnetic moment due to spin. And this mu b is equal to 9.27 into 10 raised minus 4. Now, by using this spinning of electron, we can easily explain this Zeeman effect, and that doublet of sodium using this spinning electron, we can explain Zeeman effect and doublets of sodium. So this is about the spinning of electrons. So basically, the electrons are rotating on its own axis. Because of that, they will be having some angular momentum. That angular momentum we call it as spin angular momentum. If s equal to root of s in displacement h cos. Then because of that spinning action, there will be magnetic moment associated with that. And that magnetic moment for because of that spinning action is mu s. That can be calculated by using this. In general, we can use this one. Now we'll discuss about that condensations, spatial condensation. So we know that orbits, that electrons are revolving around some specified orbit. So these orbits are condensed. Okay. So L value, L is condensed. L is condensed means that orbits are condensed. We cannot have L equal to 0, 0.5 like that. L has to be varied from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. in integers. So L is condensed. All L values are not possible. Only some L values are possible. So L is condensed. So in Bohr-Sommerfeld theory of atom, in Bohr-Sommerfeld theory of atom, electrons are assumed to be in two-dimensional motion. Assumed to be two-dimensional, which means that they have 2 degrees of freedom. But in reality, electrons are in 3 dimension, which means that they are having 3 degrees of freedom. 3 degrees of freedom, which means that they are having 3 quantum numbers. So in these 3 quantum numbers, we know that orbit, if you consider electrons motion around that nucleus, suppose this is your nucleus and this is electrons are revolving around this nucleus like this. Okay. So this is your L, corresponding to that there will be one value. So any value, you'll say this is your x of y of t. So this is the orbit by which that electron is revolving around this nucleus. That is given by corresponding quantum number is given by this L value. Now this is in 2 dimensions. For example, if you consider this as your z axis, and this is your x, this is your y. So it can use this x and y as that orbit path that is in a plane. but this direction is free. If you consider that electrons are revolving around the nucleus in 3 dimensions, according to the vector model of atom, that one extra is used for representing the direction of that particular orbit, that particular angular moment. So here three quantum numbers are there, or 3 degree of freedoms are there. Among these three quantum numbers, two quantum numbers are used for representing the shape of orbit, and the third one you can rewrite it. Third one is used to represent the direction of angular momentum of orbit. So if you're having the orbit in xy plane, then the direction of that angular momentum will be in z direction, perpendicular to that plane. Direction will be perpendicular to that, which means that if you consider electrons are revolving like this in this, so this is your x, this is your y, and this is in this plane, then the direction of that angular momentum corresponding to this orbit, that will be perpendicular to this plane of rotation. So this direction will be in z-axis for this particular. Okay, so the third quantum number is used for to represent the direction of motion or direction of that angular momentum. Then that we can represent L, that angular momentum fundamental. That will be equal to, again, to consider that magnitude, it will be L in plus 1, suppose. And suppose if you apply some magnetic field to this particular motion, so let us assume that electrons are revolving like this. So now the angular momentum will be like this in this direction. And suppose I am applying some magnetic field in this direction. So if you apply the magnetic field, the electron will try to precise around that magnetic field. Okay. So if these electrons are revolving like this, they will try to precise around this angle. So if you consider this as your angular momentum vector L, then they will try to precise this magnetic. So electron will be revolving around this nucleus in such a way that this angular momentum vector will be precising around this magnetic. This is your LZ. So if you are having vector like this, position will be like this, right? This one will be equal. Okay, so this is your LZ, Z component of angular momentum. Then if you divide, then it will become cos theta, MLH cross by, what is this, L, root of L into L plus 1, L plus 1 times H cross. So this H cross will get cancelled. This is ML by root of. So for a particular L, this value is constant. Let's take L equal to 2. So this root of L into L plus 1, L into L plus 1, this will be 2 times 3, right? So root 6. But ML can take values from ML can take minus L to plus L. So that means now the ML equal to minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. Okay. So Lz by L, that will give you this cos theta. And that cos theta will be depends on these values, different values. For given L equal to some constant. So for L equal to 2, we have cos theta equal to minus 2, minus 1, 0, 2 divided by root 6. So this much of values. So if you want to take theta, then cos inverse of this minus 2, minus 1, 2 divided by root 6. So theta will be depending on these ML values for different. So if you draw that, and that will come. This is your z direction. So what will be this cos inverse of 0? Cos inverse of 0 is 90. So the first one will be like this, making perpendicular to z axis. And the remaining, if you calculate that, it will come. So this so this is to take these projections. 0. So this is your 1, 2, 0, minus 1 of ML values. Okay, ML values. This is your theta for each. In this case, this will be your theta. So this is quantized. Your theta is quantized, which means that orbit cannot be in all direction. Okay, so that direction of orbits are also quantized. Which means that if you are drawing your orbits, suppose electrons are evolving like this initially, then you cannot take another orbit like this. That is not possible. Because direction is quantized. If you are having this direction, for example, first time this one, then according to your ML value, suppose this L is equal to 2, or corresponding to this particular orbit, L equal to 2, which means that if you are having ML value like this initially, then the same L equal to 2, you can take next value somewhere here, then here, and then here, like this. So your direction of orbit also quantized. You cannot take any direction, but the direction is quantized. So first, if first one is this, then second one should be coming like this. So that its direction should be like this, perpendicular to that plane. Third one, if you want to draw, third one, you cannot take any arbitrary motion, any arbitrary direction. The third one, the ML value, which will give you that direction like this, which means that the orbit should be. So similarly, you can draw any direction. So for this one, you'll be having orbit like this. That is for that 0, ML equal to 0. And this one will be having the orbit like this, or this one, first one. So that direction of orbit also quantized. Theta is also quantized because of this L value, ML value which is quantized. Okay, so all direction of orbits are not possible. This also quantized by this vector model effect. Now next is spin orbit coupling. Spin orbit coupling, we call it as LS coupling. So you have two angular momentas, L and S. They couple together and form this resultant angular momentum J. That is nothing but this LS coupling. You have orbital angular momentum, you have spin angular momentum. And initially we thought that there is only one kind of angular momentum, that is orbital angular momentum. And if you consider that orbital angular momentum will be having energy, different energy levels according to that L value. Okay. So suppose if you are having N, so this will be your N values corresponding to one particular. Now if you draw that L values, so this is your N, principal quantum number N. If you draw that N, then you have to draw that. Same electron. Working like this. So this, suppose this is your N equal to 2, then L can have values from 0, 1, not to 0, 1, N minus 1. So this one will be your L equal to 1 and 0 will be coming. Originally it will be different, it will be having different shape and just representing that energy level. So N equal to 2, L equal to 1, L equal to 0. Okay. So when you have L, different L values, similarly you have different spin of electrons, then that angular momentum, orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum couples together and form a resultant angular momentum or total angular momentum, which is J. So that is this spin orbit coupling. Okay. We'll give some examples. So this is nothing but the addition of angular momentum, the orbital angular momentum as well as spin angular. That is spin orbit coupling. So let's take L equal to, we know that L equal to H cross root L into L plus 1 and S equal to root of, I'm talking on that magnitude. This is capital S, S into S plus 1. Then you have that J, which is equal to root of j into j plus 1 h cross. And this small j, as I told you, small j will be having values from L plus S to L minus S. And all other things, L equal to L can take value from 0 to minus 1. S can take values plus or minus half. So from this, so if you consider that total angular momentum, we have that j square equal to L square plus S square plus 2L S cos theta, right? If you take j equal to L plus S, j square will be equal to L plus S whole square. So a plus b whole square will come a square plus b square plus 2a times cos theta if that angle. So j square will be L square plus S square plus 2L dot S will come. So L dot S is nothing but LS cos theta. This has taken from j equal to L plus S. So that will give you j square equal to L plus S square. That will give you. Now, if you calculate the theta value after LS coupling, then it will give you like cos theta equal to j square minus L square minus S square divided by 2LS. Okay. For theta equal to cos inverse j square minus L square minus S square divided by 2L. So this is after LS coupling. Before we had only L and S. Okay. If you are having LS coupling, that L and S are added together and form the resultant angular momentum. After that, if you measure that angle, which means if you are having L, for example, L in this direction, your L, suppose your S is up, so S is this, and the resultant will be this one. So if you consider your axis, Z axis, like this, then your initial theta was from L to this Z axis. Okay, theta, that is the angle of between that orbital angular momentum and Z axis. Okay, that angle is theta. But once you have this J, then this is your angle. So your total, because of this LS coupling, L and S are coupled together. So the resultant angular momentum, about that resultant angular momentum, that will be precising about D. Initially, you were having only L. Okay. L and S are not coupled together. So this L angular momentum will be precising about this magnetic field, rotating about this magnetic field in such a way that this field is this Z axis has its axis of rotation. Okay. But once you have LS coupling, then this L and S are added together. Then you have resultant angular moment J. Then after that, this J will be having this precision, not L. So this J vector will be rotating about that Z axis magnetic field. Okay. So now the J is precisely about this Z axis of in the direction of magnetic. So total angular momentum direction will be precise. Then after L S coupling. If there is no LS coupling, then L will be precisely about this Z axis. So in this case, you have angle between L and S, L and this Z axis. In this case, you have angle between J and Z axis. So that angle will be given by this expression after LS coupling. So before LS coupling, then you have to put that ML value, ML by root L into L plus 1, that is your theta. After LS coupling, this will be your theta. Okay. So if you consider For example, okay, before that I will tell spectroscopic terms. Spectroscopic term. The spectroscopic term means energy level. Spectroscopic term in this term means energy level. Okay. So the energy levels are of the atom, different electrons, which are represented as by using this terminology term. So each electron will be having different spectroscopic terms, and we'll discuss how we can get this spectroscopic. For example, if you are having L value, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. In spectroscopic term, we can represent it as, for example, L equal to 0, we can represent as S, capital S, then capital P, capital D, and so on. F, all those things. So this is similar to those energy levels we discussed in that electron filling, different energy levels orbits. But in spectroscopic term, we use it as in capital letter, SPDF. In there, we use it as small letter SPDF orbitals. So these are having different energies. So the lowest one is S, then if you go higher energy, then PDF all those things. And along with this, if you are having S as your spin, then there is one another term which is called as multiplicity. Multiplicity, and which will be given by 2s plus 1. Okay. Then if you calculate that J value, because of that spin orbit coupling, so J will be equal to L plus S, or J will be equal to L minus S, depends. So, or you can write L plus S with S as plus or minus half. Here we are considering S as half. So this will give me L plus half. This will give me L minus half. So I'm considering S as half. Then I have two J values, L plus half and L minus half. So these are the J values. So now if you are having all this, then we represent that spectroscopic term as, suppose this is your, I will write it as L itself. Suppose this is your L, that is nothing but this values, SPDF for this. Then this will be your 2s plus 1 multiplicity, and here you will be having that J value. So this is the spectroscopic representation. So suppose if we consider let's take the term. So correspondingly, we have this L value here. L value is nothing but 0 here for S. L value is equal to 1 for P. L value is equal to 2 for P, and so on. And right, so this will be 0. 0 plus half will come first. So it is half. 0 minus half will come. And this is minus half. Right? Then 1 plus half will come. This 3 by 2. 1 minus half is 1 by 2. Then 2 plus half, 5 by 2, and 2 minus half, 3 by 2, and so on. Now remember this J value will be always positive. So full notation will come. Will come as 1 by 2 is J value. S is that term. So S, here we have 1 by 2 J value. Here we have 2S plus 1. S is half. So 2S plus 1 will come as 2. 2 into half plus 1. Then here we have P 3 by 2. P 3 by 2 is for S is equal to plus half. So this is 2. Then we have P 1 by 2 for J. And this will give you again, I'm taking that as constant. Okay. Then here we have D with 5 by 2. This also 2. And here we have D3 with 3 by 2. Suppose with a single electron, for example, 1s orbit. If you consider 1s orbit, so S equal to half and L equal to 0, 1s electron. S for S orbital is L equal to 0. So J will be equal to half and 2s plus 1 multiplicity that will be equal to 2. So for 1s orbit, the spectral term will come as spectral term equal to that will give 2s half. So for example, for P1, another example for P1. So which means that only a single electron in this orbitals for P1, this one is for that single electron. So for P1, so P S is still half because only one electron is there. And L will be equal to 1. J will be equal to 1 plus half 3 by 2, 1 minus half 1 by 2. So correspondingly, we have two values 2p 3 by 2 and 2p 1 by 2. If you consider 4d, same what we discussed earlier, S is equal to still 1 electron, so S is half, L equal to 2, J will be equal to 5 by 2 and 3 by 2. That will give you 2d 3 by 2, 2d 5 by 2. Now, suppose if you are having two atom with two non-equivalent electrons. So this is for non-equivalent electrons, which means that those electrons are not in the same orbit. So that is non-equivalent electrons. So for example, if we consider 4p3d, so in p orbit, one electron, d orbit, one electron. So their orbits are different. So they are not equal. These electrons are not equal. So how it will come with non-equivalent, two non-equivalent electrons. So here S1 is half. For example, if I take S1 as the first electron, similarly S2 also I am having half. Okay. So total S will come as S1 plus S2 to S1 minus S2. So this will result half plus half 1 and half minus half 0. So I am having two electrons now. Those two electrons are in different orbits, so they are non-equivalent electrons. If they are in same orbit, suppose for p2, then two electrons are in the p orbit, then they are same. They are equal electrons. If they are in different orbit, then they are non-equivalent electrons. So in that case, first electron I am having spin half, second electron I am having spin half. So there are two spin values. Total spin will be S1 plus S2 and S1 minus S2. S1 minus S2. So that will result me S is equal to 1 and S equal to 0. Now similarly L, total L, I am having L1 equal to L value for first electron which is 1, L value for second electron is 2. So total L is similar to this L1 plus L2 to L1 minus L2. So this minus value I have to take in modulus because we will not take minus of it. We have to take all these values as positive. So this will give me 2 plus 1 is 3, 2 minus 1 is 1. So 3, 2, 1. Now what are these terms corresponding to this? So the terms are, we will calculate that J value later. So S equal to 1 and equal to 3. So here J will be equal to S equal to 1, L equal to 1, L plus S. So that will give me 2 and 0. L minus S equal to 0 because 1 minus 1 will become 0. Here J will be equal to 1 plus 2, 3 and 1. And here J will be equal to 4 and 2. Right? So the terms are L equal to 1, so P, and the S equal to 1, multiplicity, then it is 3. J values are 2, comma 0. Means that P 2, 3 and P 0, 3, both are. Then here L equal to 2, so D, J values are 3, comma 1. Then multiplicity is 3. S equal to 1, so F is L equal to 3, this is F, J is 4, comma 2, this is 2. So in energy level diagram, how it will come? We are having initially 4p 4p3d as your electronic configuration for P1, P1. This is that line. This is the first line for this 4p3d. This will be splitting because of that S into 2. So you have S equal to 0 here, S equal to 1 here. And for S equal to 0, we have three terms. From here you can see. For S equal to 0, we have three terms. So 1p1, 1p2. These are also odd terms. Okay? This is also coming from that same electronic configuration. So this will be S equal to 0, we have three terms. So this will split into 3. Multiplicity. So there is one rule for this. Which one will come above, which one will come below. I will talk about it later. So the highest one, so F will come in lower. Then we have one D, 3, and then one P. So here is 2. Right? Then this S equal to 1 will split initially into 3. And these are 3P, 3D, and 3F. And this 3P again splits I made one mistake here. So yeah, here J will be having L plus S to L minus S, right? So here 2, 1 also will. It is 2, 1, 0. 1 plus 2, so 3, 2, 1 will come. So it will be from L plus S to L minus S. Okay. The values are L plus S to L minus S here. So this will be 4, 3, 2, 4, 3. So initially they split into 3 and then this 3 will split again into 3. Energy level split into 3 again. Here also this one will split into 3. So this one is 3p2, 3p1, 0. Then this one is 3d3, 3d1, 3d2. You check that. So this one is 3d3. This one 3d2, 3d1. Here we have 3f4, 3f3. So because of that LS coupling, this energy level E43D splits into different energy levels. It is given by this. Okay. So if you are having initially energy level transfer of that excited to ground state by using Bohr-Sommerfeld theory, that will be different from this analog because here we have more number of energy levels because the initial energy levels are split. These energy levels split into different energy levels. Okay. So electrons can be any of these energy levels, and when it comes to the ground state, they will release energy. And by using that idea, we can explain Zeeman effect, hydrogen lines, all those things.